This is Kid Stories Retold. Today I'm going to explain a family musical named Cats Don't Dance. Spoilers ahead. Enjoy the explanation. Darla Dimple lived in a gigantic pink house. Her butler, Max, delicately selects and irons Darla's wardrobe, prepares her a bowl of cereal with her face on the box. Darla appears friendly, but she has some secrets not apparent to the public. Danny, a peasant tomcat, has a dream of making it big in Hollywood. Danny waves goodbye to all his friends and embarks on a trip to Hollywood. When Danny arrives to Hollywood, he is taken aback by the view. Danny strolls into an animal actor agency business and attempts to greet the animals waiting for an audition. Danny asks for a spot on the bench, but Cranston refuses. Tilly pushes Cranston out the way and introduces Danny to Cranston, TW, and Francis. Immediately after entering the talent agent's office, he is offered a casting role as Cat in the musical Noah's Ark, which Darla stars in. Danny is starstruck at the mention of Darla's name. With no time to respond, the talent agent hastily makes Danny sign his movie contract. The energized talent agent asks Sawyer, his secretary, to play the fill-in role of the cat in the upcoming movie. Sawyer refuses and negotiates for 3 times the original pay for taking the role. Before Danny arrived to the talent agency, he unknowingly pushed Darla into a fountain. Still angry at Danny, Darla pushes him away. An oblivious Danny helps Darla with the door. Danny runs into Pug working on set on the way to the script readings. Danny and Darla read their line in the script. One line that reads "meow." Danny is disappointed because he expected more. He decides to spice his line up a bit. The director starts filming. Darla descends from the sky flawlessly performing. The cows went moo, moo, the piggies went oink, oink, the doggy went roof. The kitties went off script. Danny started singing his meow and got in scenes he didn't belong in. Sassily, Darla demands the filming be stopped. At the top of her lungs, she yells that she hates animals, especially Danny. Startled by Darla's behavior, Danny falls on the lever, sending her flying. At her command, Max enters through the wall and catches Darla. She points at Danny. Max takes that as a cue to force Danny to recite his script properly. He drops Max and takes his leave. Later that day, Danny finds out Sawyer had dreams of making it as an actor. An elephant explains to Danny that in the acting industry there is only room for humans and the unimportant acting roles are for animals. Danny has a plan to motivate the actors that are animals. Pudge and him team up to remind the animal actors of why they came to Hollywood. Darla and Max started to notice the animals dancing and singing. In hopes to motivate Sawyer to take acting seriously again, Danny tries to remind Sawyer of her passion of acting. She remains unconvinced. Danny, from out of the blue, asks if an audition with L.B. Mammoth, the executive of Mammoth Entertainment, would persuade her. Unconvinced that he could make that happen, she walks away. Darla invites Danny to her big pink house for tea after overhearing Danny's conversation with Sawyer. Darla kindly greets Danny once he arrives. She apologizes for Max's behavior while biting the heads off of animal crackers. Darla offers Danny a performance in front of L.B. Mammoth if they do a number in her movie. She insists that Danny keep this a secret between the two. L.B. Mammoth has a scheduled press conference at the same time Darla promised the audition. She calls to confirm that he is booked. Instead, she has different plans for the animals. Devious plans. A few days go by and the animals gather in the studio for the performance in front of L.B. Mammoth. They sit in the ark and wait for his appearance. Pudge is controlling the stage equipment and special effects as Darla sneaks behind him to tie him up. L.B. Mammoth is having his press conference right outside the studio the animals are in. Darla commands Max to turn on the fans and start the rain in the studio. The studio floods. L.B. Mammoth opens the studio door and a gigantic wall of water poured down on him. The animals throw the anchor, which catches on L.B. Mammoth's shirt. LB Mammoth condemns the animals for the destruction caused and locks all the animals out of the studios. Darla thanks Danny for working with him. The animals feel betrayed and are disappointed in Danny's choices. Danny decides to go back home. He watches all the animals from the window as the bus drives away, but gets a wind of inspiration and hops off the bus. He devises a plan with Pudge. He sneaks into the studio and mails all the animals an invitation letter to the premiere of the musical. At the premiere, the stars arrive and everyone takes their seats. Max finds Pudge. Max grabs him and rubs Pudge on his head, creating friction for static electricity. Max sticks Pudge on the ceiling and chases Danny to the roof of the studio. Danny falls off the building. Max spots him hanging onto a Darla balloon and continues to chase him. Danny finds his way back on the building and pulls the rope in until a spire is poking the balloon. He asks Max to recite his one line from his script. Reluctantly, Max meows while Max punctured the balloon. Max flies away with the balloon. The show is over and everyone is leaving, said Pudge. Inside, Darla receives a standing ovation from the audience. Danny gets on stage and interrupts the crowd. He asks for their attention. Badly injured, he pulls himself together and commends Darla for the performance. Danny tells the audience Darla has a special surprise. The audience claps. He says the special surprise is a live show with an animal cast. Sawyer is awed in the audience, but the other animals do not want to get involved. They drag her out of the seat and leave. Darla gets angry and almost loses her composure in front of the audience. Danny adds that it was Darla's idea to perform in front of LB. She stares at LB nervously. She gently calls for Max. Danny points to his friends in the audience, stammering his sentence, noticing they are gone. Darla mocks him, calling him Mr. Kitty, and the audience laughs along. A hand from behind grabs Danny's hand. Behind the stage stands Sawyer. She says everyone back here is rooting for you. She whispers to Tilly to not let go. Tilly proceeds to restrain TW, Francis, and Cranston while they start nagging. Danny interrupts them and says, if you're willing to accept what they truly think about you, then you can go. Because I almost did. Let's show them what we can do. Danny walks front stage and introduces his friends. Sawyer happily dances out from backstage singing proudly. Darla gets an idea and leaves her seat. She pulls the curtain lever. It opens the stage curtain, revealing the beautiful backdrop. The audience owes. Darla pulls a random lever, causing a light display behind Sawyer and Danny to shine. Darla reaches her tolerance level and appears to lose it. She proceeds grabbing all the light bulbs and then throwing them on stage. Danny and Sawyer dances around the bulbs effortlessly. The crew continue to dance without noticing Darla's efforts to stop their show. Next, Darla tries smashing the special effects electronics but ends up electrocuting herself. She climbs up to the mother of all switches. The levers she steps on while climbing adds guilt and glamour to the production going on below her. She reaches the mother of all switches during the end of the show. She forces it down and fireworks fill the room. The performance ends. The audience pauses and then gives a standing ovation to the animals. Darla grabs Danny and said, I should have gotten rid of you guys when I flooded the stage. Not knowing a microphone was attached to her. LB and the audience gasps. Noticing her mistake was heard. She puts on a friendly act. Pudge pulls the lever and Darla falls from the stage. Darla calls for Max once again as she falls down the trapdoor. Max is still floating away. LB finally gives the animals a chance. The crew makes it big, staring in newspaper articles, countless movies, and proving that they are just as talented as humans. Now Darla works the backstage.